Hello and welcome to the Schmooze here on FANVERSATION, where fans and conversation meet. I am your host, Yael Tygiel. I'm joined by an amazing panel of Whovians. I have the master himself, Zach Wilson. Hello, Zach Wilson.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Zach who?
I'm so glad I called you the master. I was like, now I have to name everybody and I can't think of it. K9 himself, Dave Child.
Yes, I love to be the K9. Yes, that makes me happy. Hi, everybody.
Way too accurate.
And of course, Dr. Ruth herself, Adrian Snow.
Dr. Ruth, I'll take it. That's fine. Hello, everyone. Hi, what's up? It's been a long time.
Because I'm obviously the doctor. That's just really so.
Oh, okay.
It makes
That's
sense.
fair. That's fair.
All right. Welcome. We are discussing Doctor Who Season 12's holiday special, New Year's special, Revolution of the Daleks. Before we begin with this, let's start with a spoiler warning. There are going to be spoilers. We're going to spoil. If you have not watched this episode, what are you doing here? Leave. Please leave. Return when you've seen it. Because otherwise we can't talk about it. There's a lot to talk about. But
so, leave and then come back later. Like, go watch it and then come back. You can do that.
Right. Come back. Yeah, sure.
Don't
sure.
just
leave. I meant to say that. Just leave.
Get out of here.
Let's start with overall thoughts. How did you feel about Revolution of the Daleks, the special? I'm going to start with Adrian. What did you think?
I liked it. You know, it was it was a continuation, which I wasn't expecting, because I guess I'm used to with Christmas specials. It's like, and this is the story for the year. So it's nice to see that they're changing that up a bit and making it a part of the season overall, as well as the New Year's special from the year prior.
I agree. Dave, what'd you think?
I thought it was a fun episode. And I think I had fun. If I look at it as like an episode of Doctor Who, I think I wanted a special. Like, I wanted it to be special. And I kind of got like a little, I don't know. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I loved the Captain Jack of it. And it had a lot of fun stuff in it. So I think overall I enjoyed it. But I think I just wanted it to have like that you have the special. And I didn't quite get that. But I still enjoyed it.
That's fair. Zach, what'd you think?
I liked a lot of this episode. There's a lot of good stuff in there. I think sort of similar to Dave, like I wanted a little bit more. I think there was some pieces. It was like it was both like too long and also like felt like it was missing some stuff.
Right.
But there are so many like moments where I'm just like, yes, they doing the thing. And like just me with a big grin on my face, which like that's what I want from Doctor Who. I just want big grins on my face all the time. What about you, Yael?
Really great points. These are all very fair points. I really enjoyed this. I agree that it could have been a special. I agree that I was not expecting a continuation. I also had grins on my face. I had multiple grins on my face. I
grin,
really
no
liked
grin.
it. Yes, all of my face was just a
yeah.
Now that's creepy. I really liked it. I had a really good time. I've been waiting for Doctor Who for so long, so I was very happy. As Zach knows, I love Captain Jack, so I was very happy to have him back. There are little issues that I have. I'm going to nitpick, but I really enjoyed it. And if you are here watching us live in the chat, please let us know what you thought. Converse with us because we can put it up on screen and share your thoughts. Let's start with the Doctor being in jail, because that's how the episode started.
Right.
I was, first of all, when the promo came out, I had no clue what was happening. I was like, how did the Doctor get to jail? When did that happen? I had no memory of it whatsoever. So I rewatched the season and got a clearer idea of it happening in the last 30 seconds of an episode for no reason. So the Doctor's in jail, and I wanted this episode to be like a breakout, like a heist. I didn't want the Doctor to come out so quickly and then Sorry, I got very distracted by the cute little cat.
Sorry. I told you
We all
what's
did.
going to happen.
Worth it.
All right.
It's worth it. So I wanted the Doctor to come out of the prison later on in the story,
Right.
and spend more time trying to break her out.
Especially when
But-
they like introduce it's filled with all of her enemies. Look at every, even like the little like matter eating dude. It was like there,
The
and
Pating.
it was like all of these characters that I was like, oh, this is gonna be the special that I want, because like she's gonna have to interact with all these people, and no.
I did have questions about those the particulars of those people. Like they had one silence
Yeah.
in jail. Like, what did that one silence do that he got in jail? Not like they had like a pack of them, because like the whole order is at fault there, or like seemingly, or I think the last time we left it, the whole order was like not at fault, but that one silence, like he robbed the bank.
It's inside trading. It turned out.
Yeah.
It just hit the
I mean,
stock
look, it's
market
real
really hard.
easy when you're in a meeting and then people forget that you were there. You just
Right.
turn around and like go down to Wall Street and be like, I will put 40% in blue stocks, which are words I've heard stockbrokers on TV shows say.
Adrian,
Oh, yes. 40% of blue stocks. What were we talking about? We were talking about blue stocks.
Prison.
No, the jail part, I knew that was going to happen because I at least watched The Timeless Children. So I knew that was going on. I didn't know what was happening at the very beginning of the episode because I hadn't watched the previous New Year's episode since last New Year's. But once they explained it, I was like, oh, okay, that was kind of a flashback. And now we've gone forward. Yeah, the jail, I was really hoping we would talk about the Doctor being in jail, because it kind of happened at the very end of the last season. And then it was just like, but wait, why is she going to jail? And it was not explained. I doubt it will ever be explained. Hopefully the Jadoon will come back and be like, hey, you broke out of prison. But
Right.
it was cool to see Mr. Big, I guess.
The most they explained it was like she was in jail for being herself. And
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
Like the Doctor, that's the thing. The Doctor has committed literally countless crimes by any law standard. Definitely. So I have no question that the Doctor has earned her place in jail. That said, we know she's getting out.
I thought that the Jadoon had an understanding with the Doctor. When's the last time they even interacted with the Doctor? Was it Tenet, where they had like a full episode devoted to them? And I thought they agreed that the Doctor was of service, but this is like almost a decade ago.
Oh no, the
so-
Jadoon were at the end of Smith run.
The end of Smith.
They also were this last season that aired, the episode that got us to Dr. Ruth, is the Jadoon came to Earth to find the
Dr.
Doctor.
Ruth.
Yeah, I think we're saying like before that, like before this
Right.
particular interaction, the last time we saw the Jadoon was Matt Smith's last episode when he was on the planet. But that's when everybody was there at once, so nobody could access the Doctor.
But like
The
the
last
last
time they-
episode where they really like focused on the relationship of the Doctor to the Jadoon, I felt like was Tenet. And then since then they've popped in and been police and stuff, but they haven't really put their focus on the Doctor except for Dr. Ruth. So I assumed that they would understand that they're going after the wrong Doctor. But this is when things get timey-wimey, and I'm like, well, I don't know.
Right. We do have some chat comments I want to bring up. Daniel Drew said, love the ep. I was happy we got recognizable species in the first scenes. I was worried it was going to be only new species. I agree totally. Daniel Delgado says, I enjoyed seeing Captain Jack. We know I did. I agree. And I think there was another great comment from Daniel Drew. It could have been a cool two-parter, first half in jail, second part what we saw. I totally agree. I think the stuff in jail was interesting, and Jack coming and breaking her out is interesting. I would have liked to see a heist. That's what I love. I love a heist, and that's what I would have liked. But
Yeah.
also, we've seen space jails. River's been in jail her
The
whole life.
whole, yeah.
Yeah.
And also,
Why-
wasn't there like an episode with Peter Capaldi where he was in a sort of jail, like this kind of stuck in this kind of
He was in a
Asshole
time, like, he was in a
The
Time Lord
purple.
jail for like
Yeah.
a billion years.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like a way, and that's the thing. I think the part of the flaw there was that the jail didn't have any real consequences for the Doctor. And to be honest, that's my main issue with the episode as a whole. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. My issue is that the Doctor didn't have an arc in this
Yeah.
episode.
In this episode,
The Doctor, and for which is supposed to be a pivotal episode for the Doctor. This is her reeling from the timeless child reveal, which I will not get started on because I will not be able to stop. I've said enough on the internet about that. Moving on. But the Doctor's reeling from that reveal. This is also where we say goodbye to not one but two companions by the end of it. Like, this is a big episode, or it should be. But the Doctor is sort of like along for the ride, doing doctory things, but there's not really any emotional stakes for the Doctor in this entire thing. Like, if you think about and it's not just because it's focused on the companions, and we do want to focus on the companions, but like, think about when we said goodbye to Amy and Rory. In that episode, it wasn't just their story, which had it's sad and it's high emotions, but the Doctor, it was also about the Doctor being very attached and having to say goodbye and learning to say goodbye. And similar things when you had Rose and when you had Donna, like, the Doctor's emotions were at stake in those episodes. But the Doctor at the end was just like a one heart, and that was a nice moment. One heart is happy,
Yeah.
one heart is sad. But it was like, meh.
It was
Like,
they also made a big deal out of the 10 months she was gone, and I kept
But it
thinking
was-
like 10. I mean, she's traveling
been gone
around.
for-
Cut
Yeah,
two,
wait.
smash cut two, Amy Pond, 2 years, Doctor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
and
a
also
really
like
great point.
you saw that she was in that space jail for at least like a decade
20
or
years.
something that they kept saying, or
It
20 years.
was-
Yeah, so-
Jack
20
was
years,
there for 19 years just trying to get next to her. So God only
Yeah.
knows how long she was in that jail.
I just wanted them to
Right.
bring up, like, why are you guys complaining about 10 months? This is what I've been going through.
I
And-
really wanted her to bring up, I wanted her to be like, I had a companion who was nicknamed the girl who waited. So
Yeah.
I think you're fine.
So I think
Yeah.
you can wait. I
Well, I
think
think
you can wait.
I think it's one of those things with Chibnall, and I love him, but at the same time, emotional investment is not something I really get out of a lot of the episodes, especially with the companions. It's not that I don't like Ryan or Graham or Yas, but I've always complained, like, I just don't feel like they're built up enough. I just don't feel like I understand them enough. And when I do, I don't know, should I care that much? It kind of like,
But I do like
Or
where we
something.
have Yaz now going
Yeah.
into as a starter for the new season. I love where Yaz is, because this is like Yaz, like, who got like ditched and
Yeah.
is not, but the person who got ditched by their girlfriend or boyfriend, and then they come back into their life and like, I'm going to hold on to you with everything I have.
yeah.
Like, that's where Yaz is right
Healthy,
now,
very
and
healthy.
that's going to be interesting to watch.
I also love that
What'd
we
you
got the two women the two women doing the adventures together. Though I hear they're adding a man, but I was still like, finally, this is what I wanted the whole time. It's like,
Well-
just let it be the Doctor with their companion. It still can be a woman, and I'll still watch it. But
Right. I
We got to
also
talk
feel-
about
Talk
that
about the
Lodi guy later.
yeah.
We will
But,
talk
yeah.
about the new companion later.
yeah,
I do like how this does give us a chance to meet Yaz more, because I do feel like she did get the short end of the stick with the companions. Like, Ryan and Graham leaving kind of made me go like, okay, that makes sense, because I know the most about them. And Yaz has always kind of been in the middle there. And I'm going to miss Graham because I felt like he had the most like going on, but I'm still glad that we're going to be able to focus on Yaz and maybe build up something for her a bit more. And like you said, we're going into it with a little bit of something, so that's good.
I just would have liked there's like one moment that I was missing for Yaz, especially in this episode, was like I wanted them to acknowledge Yaz's career that they started her off with, because it was this huge, it was set up to be this huge defining part of who she is, that she was a policewoman who wanted to be a detective and like this whole thing. And I obviously she quit that job and is now being like doctor style detective. So she's still doing it, but I just wanted to like get it. Don't put that in the background. That's a huge deal that she probably quit her job.
Yeah, and I also felt like, okay, to jump ahead a little bit, but they made a big deal out of like Ryan and Graham staying behind to take care of Earth. And I kept thinking like, well, Yaz is the actual police person. And she's the one that's actually like supposed to be
actually do something.
Yeah, she can actually do something. And also, I wish I had seen what they'd been doing these 10 months to kind of do that. Like, maybe what if they were in the middle of this? But instead, we have Yaz being Charlie Day in the middle of a TARDIS, like, kind of looking at all the doing the meme thing. So, like, I wanted more than just, like, suddenly Yaz is crazy, but I don't really know why. And maybe that's because it was a continuation of a story that I haven't really been rewatched since this one, but like I just had a kind of a jarring sensation when we saw her in that extra TARDIS kind of looking at all the clues and stuff, trying to piece stuff together. Just felt strange to me.
Do you think either one of them started pushing buttons in that TARDIS?
Oh,
I want to talk a second about that second TARDIS because it comes into play, which I appreciated. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but there were 3 TARDI in this episode. There's the one that she turned into a tree. There's her TARDIS, and then there's the other one.
There's
there were
Dr. Ruth's TARDIS. There's the Master's TARDIS, which I think is the tree TARDIS, and then there's her TARDIS. Am I right? I don't know. There might just be 2.
The tree may have been a previous episode. I did watch the whole thing.
I think that was a previous episode.
That
was the end of Timeless Children. Is she turns the TARDIS into a tree? But I think the TARDIS, the TARDIS in this episode is that Dr. Ruth's TARDIS or the Master's TARDIS?
Yeah,
that was the Dr. Ruth TARDIS. That was a house, and then she turned it into a police box to trick the Daleks.
Can we talk about also, just to jump kind of to the end here, but like. I always feel like the TARDIS is like almost a person. So like I feel like
because
she was. It literally was at one point. So I feel like all TARDISes are kind of almost living ships. TARDI. Okay. TARDI are living ships of some sort. They're kind of people. So I felt really bad for the TARDIS at the end that gets sacrificed to kill a bunch of Daleks. Like I was kind of like, I don't know. I feel like
this may be straying into a territory I don't want to go down, but I think it's more that the TARDIS has the potential to be a person, and
this is like,
and the Doctor, like this one came to life and it chose the Doctor.
I think it could also be. I mean, I hope they don't do this, but it could come back as like an evil TARDIS, like some Flash type of crap, or.
That'd be so funny.
Who knows?
It just seemed to me like it was even
it looks identical to her TARDIS, and it's like, what did you do to me, Doctor?
Yeah.
It's like if someone has a beloved horse, that it becomes a big part of the story. And then for the bad guys, they put them in a chariot, like with a bunch of horses, and then drive the horse and the chariot off the cliff. I'm going to feel bad for those horses if I spent so much time loving this one other horse. It kind of feels like, not that even if it's a person, but that it's some sort of like living creature of some sort. So but they didn't really acknowledge that at all. They just kind of treated it as a thing. So
the chat's helping us out.
Yeah.
In tracking this TARDIS.
It's the TARDIS that. So at the end of the child one, she sends the fam home in a TARDIS. And this is the one that she sends, not Ruth's.
Yes, because she was on Gallifrey and she had access to other TARDI.
Right.
They
all have the potential I'm joking. I don't care.
Thank you guys.
I
There's only
totally-
so much stuff we can keep in our brains at one time.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think what I was missing for that moment when she traps the Daleks was a callback to season 2 when we have the Time Lord technology that turns out to be a prison for Daleks that opens up and all the Daleks fly out in the Battle of Canary Wharf. So like I really would have loved something like that's how we ended up with that idea is because we did this. Like that would have been just a good connection.
The last time we had the Void and the Daleks in the Void, that was also the last time we had a female prime minister on Doctor Who, and they did her wrong again, yo. I'm like, why does she have to be evil every time the prime minister is a woman?
Here's the reason, Adrian. It's because regardless of man, woman, NB, it doesn't matter. It's a politician.
True.
It's because of Thatcher. It's because of Margaret Thatcher, and so they think.
I know, but I was like, man.
I want to give a quick shout out for that prime minister because she's from Killing Eve.
She is. She's from like every British thing you currently love. I think she might have even she popped in something recently. I was like, oh my god, there she is again. And was it The Crown? It was The Crown. Yeah, she's everywhere.
She's what's his name's wife. John Lithgow's characters.
Oh, right.
Can I?
Winston
Churchill.
That's it. Churchill's wife.
I'm gonna steer it back because I have a question. What did you guys think of this particular like version of the Daleks? Because like I feel like the more I loved what we got in Resolution, where we had the one lone Dalek. And that was the thing that was so good about that episode was like one Dalek is scary again. And now we went back to like a billion Daleks that we defeat.
They're never as scary when there's a bunch of them. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because it does look very like I mean, Star Wars fans are gonna get mad at me, but it looks like kind of just like episode 1 Star Wars-y at that point, because they're just shooting lasers at each other and then people are like dramatically falling to their death. When there's a bunch of them versus when there's one, it's just more menacing.
It's just horror like things, like one lone monster that you can actually focus on, and it's also that you can spend the time. It's more the structure, like the time you spend, because like when it was the time of the Doctor, like the war felt scary. Like there's Daleks flying around and blowing things up. Like there was real threat there, but this is just sort of like it reminded me of the Daleks in this episode in a way.
Well,
where it's like we modernized Dalek tech, and then kind of didn't have a direction for it to go.
Right.
I was just happy that no one's face got suctioned to death like the last time we dealt with the freight of Daleks.
Honestly, I disagree. I was like, you got rid of the suction cup? Like the whole point, the classic Dalek looks like they went, we need a scary monster. What's in my kitchen? And I'm so sad.
I got a blender.
They got rid of that.
I got a whisk and a plunger. What else?
That's it. Like, let's go.
I find the design for like, it would make sense that there would be like, this could be good for the police, right? Like dispersion, stuff like that. And I liked where they were going in that direction, but it felt like they never really went there. Like it would have been interesting if they had it like corrupting the police force or using it in a riot situation and you saw it go bad, but that didn't really happen. They kind of like introduced the idea, but then pay off with it. But it also made me think like, okay, I lose track, and I know fans will help us with this, but when was the last time we've got the people in this universe have got to know what a Dalek looks like at this point?
Thank you.
Well, no, it's been erased like a few times at this point.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't figure out if it was erased or not, because I'm like, wouldn't they just be like, hey, didn't those look like those scary monsters that have come? I think
Matt Smith erased them because the whole invasion from Canary Wharf was erased. And then I think Peter Capaldi came back and might have also erased them again after they attempted to come down. So yeah, they constantly are rewriting that.
We got to stop doing that. Like it's so frustrating. Like, I get it. I get that there's attempt to do like to use the xenophobia of a new alien and like what like, but at this point, whether it's Daleks or Cybermen or like anything, like we've seen aliens in this world before.
Yeah.
Humans know that there are aliens. They have to.
They need to get like with the Marvel universe is just like, okay, yeah, you know, people fly in the air and they're aliens and this is how it is.
What's the matter with you kids? You never seen a spaceship before?
Exactly.
The one good thing though, when that guy started cloning the thing inside, I did love how Mr. Big there was like, what? No, why did you do this? Don't do this, because I was like with him suddenly, and I was like, yeah man.
It's the one time I agreed with him. I was like, yeah, I know you're the Trump surrogate, but you are correct in this one moment, sir. Like this is.
I did appreciate that they pulled back on the Trump thing because last time it was like beating you over the head with it. It was less. It wasn't. It wasn't as bad.
He's considering a run for president. So
I'm not saying it's not there, but it's not.
They had said that that was unintentional the first time. I read that was unintentional, and that. So I think the pullback was like, oh crap, that was too on the nose. People figured it out.
Yeah. So. I mean, has there ever really been has there ever been an American with an arc on Doctor Who? I don't, or like a episode?
There was that was
actually an American, not just a British person putting on an American accent to serve the story, but like the big focus is that they are American.
Well, there was the FBI agent in
Mark Shepard
in series 6. The gay FBI agent, like he had like his own like little mini arc in those episodes.
Oh, right. But he's also British.
I don't know the actor backgrounds enough to like.
The focus wasn't really on him being an American so much. Like they did toy around with America, but a big focus of having Chris Noth play this character is that he is like a scheming American businessman with delusions of grandeur. Like
I did like how when I recognized him,
it's such a subtle reference.
When I recognized him, I wrote down Spider Guy, and then later they called him Spider Guy, and I was like, okay.
For those who would like to know his name, he played Jack Robertson, and the previous episode was Arachnids in the UK. Yeah. I do like the idea that he did this because I think it makes sense. Like story-wise, he does seem like the guy who would do this and doesn't care that there were aliens in it. I think like it plays very well. I like the addition of 3D printing the Daleks. I think that's really fun. I did not like how much of the Daleks were CGI and not practical. Like the squid people were super. Like I wanted more practical effects, and I feel like there was too much not.
The one on his back was practical, right?
Right, but the ones in the I feel like it used to be less
all practical.
More practical, and we'd look at it and be like, it's funny to be scared of that. And now they're like, we have technology on the computer to draw it out, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Listen, I watched X-Men Origins Wolverine for the first time yesterday. So leaps better than that. So I was like, I'm down. I can like.
It didn't bother that didn't bother me too much. I'm willing to grant Doctor Who enough like leeway on effects.
You know what did bother me was the fact that they had like an alien corpse, alien technology. Let's give it to one guy. Let's give this one thing, this one corpse of an alien technology that we know is super dangerous. Let's give it to one dude in a truck and then on top of that, they gave it to one dude in a truck. And the way they had to just get that one dude in a truck is an elaborate poisoned tea plan. And I kept thinking, it's one dude in a truck. Just stop the truck with a gun. that was the first sign that I was like, I don't know about this episode if I'm gonna get along with this episode, because they were like, one dude in a truck, elaborate T plot to get him, and I'm just like, shouldn't they at least have like 5 people guarding?
That's just our American, our American way of going about things. You just like threaten somebody with a gun. Because if we were an American show, that's exactly what would happen. They'd blow out his tires, and like 5 guys with a gun would like come and throw him out, maybe kill him, and then take the truck.
That's true. The British, they know exactly at what mile marker he is going to run out of tea. Right. And need to stop.
That's not so bad. It's the one person that really bothered me. It's the fact that they had one person guarding alien tech that just kind of more bothered me than anything.
Yeah, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I believe our friend Tari's theory was that they had stops along the way, knowing that one of them was going to be the one who stopped for tea. So there was a whole team for this one guy.
Yeah.
An elaborate tea team.
Also, I have a question for British people. I don't know if there's any out there. Are there actually stands that just serve tea and burgers?
Same question.
Yeah.
Same question.
Is that like, here's the thing. It's kind of
that's up in Oregon. That's like I've seen that same stand up in Oregon. If you're driving around Oregon, you're gonna just have these like little side of the road places that just has burgers and coffee. I've seen it. I don't know about
like burgers, but like they don't advertise like we're burgers and coffee. They're like a name of a fancy like hipster name of a stand, and they serve burgers and coffee.
Right.
Like this was like we serve tea and burgers and nothing else.
Yeah, or it like couldn't have been a gas station. It couldn't have been like it just didn't.
I just want to know if that's a normal pairing. And I say that as somebody who has actively eaten fish custard many times in my life. Are tea and burgers a thing that you do together in Britain?
I think tea's with everything. That's what I assume in Britain. Tea's with everything.
As somebody who has been to the UK within the past year, I will say that is not true. That tea is like, there are tea rooms and you go and you have tea. And you go and you have a burger and maybe a beer. But I've never seen anyone be like, I'm going to have some tea with my burger. That's
also like, I'm sorry to any British people that are listening to this. We don't know what we're talking about. We just drink coffee and we go on with our day.
I drink tea.
Let's go on with our day. I want to talk about the Dalek versus Dalek solution.
Yeah.
How did we feel about the idea that the Doctor's solution was to invite more Daleks? Any thoughts?
I kind of like that they use. Someone in the chat mentioned this as well. That I like that they use their kind of purity and xenophobia against them, and use that hate kind of against them. I kind of wish we brought that more into the fact that these were cop bots at first, and I wish they actually kind of leaned into that a bit more.
Yeah,
but I do like that they brought it in as the final solution. Bad choice of words, but you know what I mean.
They were the SS Daleks. Like they were like,
yeah.
It was. I think there's a lot more fleshing out that could have happened for this. Like I do think it would have served as a 2-parter, even a 3-parter, if you want to like focus on the prison part and then give us just a 2-parter focusing on the Daleks and what it means to have Daleks as a police force, because there's like a whole episode you can devote just to that without having to bring in the quote unquote Nazi Daleks. But I mean, that's what Daleks essentially are and based off of.
Yeah.
But we've already we know this about Daleks, and we've talked about this so much with Daleks. It's not the first time a Dalek has been like, you're not pure enough. Mm-hmm. It would have been nice to talk about the militarization of Daleks, I think, just on its own. And we didn't get that chance.
Yeah, I agree. I like, if you're gonna go there, go there.
Yeah.
Go there hard. Like Chibnall has never been shy about going after political topics, but this felt like bringing up a political topic just to bring it up.
Right.
And it didn't serve enough of a purpose. Like, we're dealing with a lot in the world right now. You can shine a light on that with Daleks. Like,
yeah. I mean, they had a year, right? So if if it was going to take a year, then we should have come back 2 years later. And
When
then
did
we
it
get to
shoot?
see the
Sorry, I didn't mean to
police. No, it's okay. We get to see the police Daleks work in action for a while without even bringing in the actual Daleks themselves, but just like, what is this world like where this thing that we know to be a symbol of hate is going around and policing people, and then have aliens take over their bodies again. You know, that's a more interesting story, I think.
That would also be less serendipitous than this episode, where as soon as the Doctor comes back, that's when they launch these Dalek police, which that happens a lot in Doctor Who, where it's like suddenly she shows up and then like something Doctor related happens right when she shows up. And I think it would have been far more interesting to have those like Dalek police like going around for a year before like, she shows up.
I totally agree. I think that's why I would have liked if she was still in prison and like they were trying to deal with it.
Yeah.
While also Jack was trying to break her out
of prison. Oh, that would have been. That's the special I wanted. Yeah.
Because it also kind of goes back to like when we had the Master back during the Tennant years. What was so great about that is that the Master had been at work the whole time we were watching the Doctor go on other adventures. So the whole time we're like, everything's fine, everything's great. They come back to Earth and like, no, actually, the Master has been at work corrupting the government the whole time he's been away. And I appreciated that because it was like, oh, wow, something goes on in the universe when the Doctor's not observing it.
Right.
So.
And I'm hoping that we'll see some of that stuff unplay. Like this is they haven't said it, but like likely this is Jodie Whittaker's last season. Just following the pattern of the show. Just the pattern of the show is 3 years to a Doctor. I'm not saying I want her to go. I think she's done great, and I actually would love to see her get more because I feel like she hasn't been able to shine as much as she deserves.
Also, there's no news on that, and we are not making any announcement.
No. That's why I'm prefacing it with like no rumors. I'm purely basing that on the fact that so far, like with the exception of Eccleston, who that's a whole other different story. Every Doctor has gotten 3 seasons, so and that's I think a good length of time. Personally, I think it's served well so far.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see.
I hope that there is a cool plan. I bring that up to say I'm hoping that this is like there's a cool plan that this is just kicking off for something like what we got with the Master there.
Hey, question, bit of a sidetrack. This is not me announcing something. This is an actual question. Was there something about Eccleston like talking about making an appearance or coming back at some point?
Audiobook.
That's what it was. Okay.
He is doing new things as the Doctor, but purely audio form. They even asked him. He's like, hell no, I'm not doing anything on TV.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he didn't seem to enjoy it that much, and that's okay. but at least he's
people who did enjoy and came back. Let's talk about Jack.
Yeah, I was gonna say. We got to talk about Jack and.
I love Jack so much, but he was written this episode. He was very Jack. Like he was written Jack. There was at no point did I go, that's not like him. 100% Jack. He's on a different show than the rest of them.
Yeah.
And they are on a different show.
It also felt like
he's just from a different time of Doctor Who, and so everyone, all the old school, I guess we're old now, but the Tennant people are like, yeah, Bushing Peninsula, Gwen Cooper, and all the Matt Smith and Pryor are like, what the hell is he talking about? So I get it.
It kind of felt like a Jack. It felt like a young Jack to me, which was a bit odd. It didn't feel like the Jack who has experience.
Torchwood Jack.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, he hasn't experienced though, like the Torchwood stuff. Like he didn't experience the whole like year of no one dying, and
Yanto dying, and
not to bring that back.
Yeah.
But like I'm just saying, like it doesn't feel like a Jack who's experienced life. It felt like he was still a young Jack who's still having fun, not dying and stuff like that. And I kind of. Which is okay. I don't want a gritty Jack, but I kind of wanted a bit more of a mature Jack. Best line though is, "Have you had work done?" And then he says like,
You're
"You're one to talk," which means he's not denying it, which is what I loved about it.
Well, the funniest thing, there's a Barrowman posted a video on Twitter where he's just like standing in front of his TV as the credits roll, and he's like pointing at his name, and he's all excited, and he is full gray.
Oh,
Full
yeah.
gray, and then it cuts
Totally
the
right.
episode. So much of a wig, and which just seeing the two next to each other is great.
Yeah, that was good.
No, I totally agree. I know that Chibnall wrote for Torchwood, and now, you know, because of the call to Gwen saying her name,
Yeah.
there's a petition started to bring Torchwood back.
No.
Sorry.
No.
That Stars movie or season or whatever the hell, I was like, what have you done? Like, what have you done? It was so bad that unless they're willing to retcon that entire thing, I'm not coming back. They don't need to bring it back.
I could see more them doing like Torchwood, like just slapping the name on a new cast.
Mm.
I would not like that.
Nah, yeah. Maybe just bring Gwen for an episode. You know,
I also always bring up the question of like, you've just established in this universe, no one died for a year, and no one brings that up ever.
But that was so bad. Was that? I can't even remember. I blocked that out after the pole went through that dude's chest, and he kept living with that wound. I was like, I hate this. I hate everything about this.
I liked it at first, but I think I ran out of steam with it after as it went on. Anyway,
Yeah.
The only way I think we could bring Torchwood back is if Graham and Ryan, who now have psychic paper, work with Jack and Gwen. That's the only way to do it.
there you go.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I was pitching that, but that's now what I'm pitching. Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
all right,
I think we
let's
should
talk
yell.
about-
You and I, we're going to call the BBC tomorrow and get this set up.
Perfect. Let's talk about our companions a little bit more, because we lose Graham and Ryan. They have a psychic paper parting gift, and then we have the weirdest, dumbest, like, obviously we get it, it's a callback to the first episode with the bike riding.
Yeah, everything about that scene was horrible to me. I can't. There was nothing that happened in that scene that made me happy, except for maybe the fact that they got psychic paper. I think that's about it, because you had
That was adorable.
you just had like the bike ride, which I got, but then what was the topper for me, which made me go like, no, and almost threw something at the TV, was the ghost of the mom just looking at them, and then them having a moment with the ghost of the mom that wasn't related to anything going on. They just both had a ghost encounter, and then they said like, oh, we just saw it in the sun. That was so
Why was there, at that moment, both of them should have been like, oh, we both saw that? Adventure time.
Yeah, what's happening? Let's find out.
If they had started, instead of, you know, sometimes it's that like don't tell us, show us thing, where just show us them in Korea. Just show us like them dealing with rocks coming out of the ground. Because then we'll go, oh, okay, they're continuing their own adventures without the Doctor here on Earth, taking what they learned from the Doctor and putting it to good use. But we all hated that bike. We all hated it the first episode, and I hated it in the last episode. That's not how I want Ryan to go out. He's a grown man. Okay, like, let's just let it go. He doesn't know how to ride a bike, and that's okay. Like, it's embarrassing and frustrating.
Also, stop trying to learn how to ride a bike on grass. It's so much harder than just on smooth pavement.
Right.
It's not how you teach a child.
Yeah.
But also, again, it's just this. They brought up this disability storyline that could have been really interesting if they had used it.
And they
almost never used it. So to have a callback to it again is just like, why?
Yeah.
The only time they use it is it's like, can he jump to that ladder? Yes, he can. He could, and he did it. And then that was
we
it.
never see him. The only time we ever see him fail because of this disability is trying to ride a bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't bring it back. Don't bring it back. And if you're gonna bring it back, it just felt like they were trying to go like, all right, let's do the cute thing where it's father and son riding the bike. Bring that back. That'll tug on heartstrings. You know what'll tug on heartstrings more? Ghost of the Mom. Bring out the ghost, and it just felt so easy. It felt like a Hallmark movie at that point, and it just
Grandma.
We already had closure with the ghost.
I know,
Yeah, but
it's a
Dave
mother
still-
figure. Mother and father figure is what it is, but it's just like I hated it.
What do you guys think about them staying alive though? Like, it's so rare that we get companions that just go back to their lives.
I'm not trapped in an alternate dimension or something.
Too. Who's the last one who just like went back? Was it Martha? Yeah. Martha. It's just Martha, Graham, and Ryan. Those are the only companions that survive in a normal life.
Donna
had her entire memory erased. Doesn't count.
Yeah.
Okay. She's alive.
I love Donna, but she lost all of her memories. So
Rose is technically alive, just in an alternate universe.
I'm just saying they don't get to return to their they don't just get to go back and keep going with their lives. We had a great time. Moving on.
They never really go back. Like even Martha became an agent a doctor agent for Torchwood, so and Ryan and Graham are not going to go back to their regular life, which is fine. I think they deserved a better send-off. And I think if that meant that the seed of doubt was planted for this episode and the first episode is them bouncing, just so we can have more of a time devoted to them, I would appreciate that better. And we don't need to talk about his grandmother anymore. We've done so many episodes where it's about them coming to closure over her death that it's we get it.
We did a whole episode where they're tempted by a copy of her. We've done this.
Yeah. I also think that the idea of giving them the psychic paper and letting them live is that I assume we're seeing them again. That's just an assumption that's based on they're alive, they're on planet Earth, they have psychic paper. We'll see them again.
At minimum, season finale.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there was no weird, sudden time paradox with Amy Pond, where it's I can never go back to this time, which still to me doesn't make any sense. But I don't understand why you can't go back to 1948.
There's so many issues with that because it's not just the year; it's it's New York. But the TARDIS can't fly into New York, but the Doctor could just park in Connecticut and take a train.
Yeah, I don't get it, but okay.
Anyway,
so many rules.
Without all of that, but at the same time, we didn't really see Donna again after that. I think maybe one episode we got with her, kind of just in passing the Doctor. So we'll see. And Martha, same thing. We didn't get her for a while until she came back. And,
we saw them in a little check that in the tenant scene that I sort of see that scene through tears, but
the goodbye.
Yeah, the goodbyes. Daniel Drew says, I agree. I would like to have them traveling as a goodbye scene.
Yeah.
The run's not over. They just because they're not behind the scenes stuff, just because they're not signed on as series regulars does not mean that they're not going to show up.
Yeah.
Right.
But also actors get work and they just go, I can't come back.
Let's talk about the new companion for a minute. If you missed the credits,
Van Lodi guy.
Oh, there was a post
credits. There was a post credit scene where they introduce him.
I didn't see that.
Don't worry.
You had to wait through a preview, 2 scenes of The Watch.
Called The Watch. It's fine. In the scene that you missed, he puts things on a truck. That's it.
Law and Order Lodi guy.
Okay. The actor is John Bishop, who apparently is a comedian. I went and looked up some stuff of his. Uh-huh. I'm not excited at all.
He's just he's a 50s white guy.
What?
Yeah.
So here's, I like that you guys are looking it up.
Yeah.
Here's the thing one of my favorite bits that has happened during this last season of Jodie's run is this bit where people assume that Graham is the Doctor. And so I feel the only reason they chose this man is to continue doing that bit, because everyone's going to see him and go, "You're the Doctor." That's it. That's my only explanation as to why they chose this person.
I don't know why they can't trust that we can have a female doctor with a female companion,
Right.
and we will not, like, you don't have to keep making sexist jokes just for the sake of it. Like, it'll come up regardless because she is a woman going through time and space. So I don't understand why they have to have so many companions for Jodie's Doctor. It's just,
Yeah, I don't
give
get
us
it either.
one season with just the two of them.
Here's the thing. I will defend the choice for another companion, because, and I've said this many times before, I stand by 2 companions is the right amount. Because every time the show is at its best is when there are 2 companions, whether it's Rose and Jack, or Rose and Mickey, or Amy and Rory, Bill and Nardole. Like, when you have 2 people to bounce off of the Doctor, I think the show is at its finest. And then when you have one person for too long, like when it's just the Doctor and Clara, it gets really stale.
I never felt that with Amy, though. Even though Rory was around, Rory wasn't always there in the beginning.
It doesn't have to be every episode, but he's still a presence. That's the thing. And like, just like with Rose, like it was the Doctor and Rose, but you had Jack, you had Mickey, you had Mom. Like they kept popping in to give a third voice, and you need that. And Nardole wasn't there in every episode with Bill, but because he was there enough, it balanced the show. I don't know if this guy is the right call, but we don't know anything about him yet.
They should have. Then I feel like if that's the case, I think the reasons that those companions work is because there was with the exception of Bill and Nardole, a prior relationship. So Yaz has a sister that we have learned a little bit about. It'd be nice to bring her into the fold if that's what you want to do. It's just you're bringing in somebody completely new with companions that, I hate to say it, are already kind of underdeveloped to begin with. So why? Like,
I mean, we don't know his story. He could know Yaz, for all we know. Like, they're not related, but
I'm just saying we've never been introduced to him prior. Like, take somebody that we've been introduced to already and develop them.
That's fair. That's fair.
I also would like to have characters that just add another point of view to the story. Like, I would love to have. It might be seen as kind of easy nowadays, but I would love to have like a non-binary character on there. I would love to have like a trans character, especially since like it will be interesting after we've had like a couple seasons of of dealing with these characters. If they had like someone who has transitioned or is non-binary, dealing with gender issues themselves, suddenly being a part of the cast, it would be an interesting, way to explore this now female Doctor and how to deal with that. I don't know. It would just add a whole new perspective. That would be nice.
I will say, again, we don't know any. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wish Dr. Ruth was the next companion. Like, I would love to see the Doctor, like the scene with the Doctor and the Dr. Donna is like one of my favorite scenes, because you get to see the Doctor play off themselves. And I think it would have been so much cooler if we have the Doctor, Dr. Ruth, and Yaz. Like, that would be amazing. That the adventures would be bananas, and it would be so fun. And it's such a bummer. And aside from that bit, I don't see why this guy is being added.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I want to give the benefit of the doubt. Literally all we know about this guy is the actor playing him and the fact that he seems good at loading a van. We don't know that he's playing a straight character. He could be playing a gay character or a bisexual character, and I kind of hope, and I feel like Chibnall is not one to hold back on trying to be inclusive.
Mhm.
So I think there is a good chance that like maybe by the end of the season we get an acknowledged like LGBT companion. So
As
I'm
long as it's
hoping
not,
that
like,
that's where they go. I'm not
Bill.
saying that is, but I'm saying I'm willing to at least wait to see what they've got in store for us with him.
It's
Yeah.
more that I would like to have like, I don't know, a gender discussion more than anything else.
Do you-
Because we
And
didn't
I'm
get
curious,
that
do
at
you
all,
get-
really.
Well, they haven't done it, but do you guys? It does. I asked somebody who it does not apply to, so I'm curious. Does the Doctor? Can the Doctor be a trans character now?
Mm,
I get
No.
the sense, and
Do you
again, I
have
don't-
that discussion with the Doctor there? I'm not sure that you can. I'm not sure that you can't. I don't know.
that's
I think
what I
that's
would like to see. That's
Yeah.
that's what I would like to explore is how I mean dealing with someone who has to deal with like, and I want like a character who is not an actor who's non-binary, an actor who's trans. You know, I want someone to be like talking about pronouns with someone who has switched pronouns, but I do think that the Doctor is not trans still. Like I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
And-
it's because of the way that they handle, even when you talk about the timeless children, you get to see all the different evolutions of the Doctor or generations of the Doctor, and how it doesn't really matter in terms of gender or race. And so I think that's something that if they're going to do that, it has to be handled better than it was like with Bill, where it was like, and I'm gay. It was like, what
Oh my
the
God. She said it so many
what
times.
the fuck? Like, why do we keep being reminded of this? Where it would be nice for them to address that, because we were all kind of curious about if they were going to address that and have someone who was a part of the trans or non-binary community to come in and give that a voice without beating us over the head with it.
Exactly.
And they didn't. And so I don't really trust that Chibnall will do it at this point,
That's true.
just based off of the jokes that we've received.
I mean,
So-
and also I think it's also because like I'm a big Star Trek Discovery fan, and I'm seeing them handle it in an interesting way and deal with it in an interesting way, and it made me want to go like, I wish Doctor Who could like explore this kind of right now in my other kind of fandom. So I don't know. It's just that's just kind of my other. If you're gonna bring in another companion, and I see it's like a middle-aged white guy, it just never makes me excited right now. As someone who's almost middle-aged and definitely a white guy, you know, like I still see it, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Oh yeah. I'll go on record, and I think I have the authority, along with Dave, to say this: white dudes are boring.
Yeah, yeah, we are. Like I just have a hard time, even when there's like a new superhero announced in the Marvel universe or something, and it's like a white dude. I'm just always like, what? Why? Just
I just think it feels like the show kind of feels like it needs to have a white dude.
Yeah.
Always.
I have to step out for 1 second. Just my cats will be here to amuse you, but I have someone
Okay.
picking up a delivery at 2 and they're early. So okay, I'll be right back.
Are they? It's 1:59. I think they're right on time.
That's so funny. No, but it really feels like, you know, with Graham, who had like, I like Graham, but you know, we had him, and before Jodie, it's been just white dudes. So like,
right.
At this point, it's the time to be like, we don't need one, and they were like, but here's what we need is one.
I wonder if this is a network thing, because I had heard that there was pushback to some of what Chibnall. I'm curious now that we've seen last season and like this, like because we had heard that BBC wanted to fire Chibnall at some point. We don't know why. We don't know what it was over, but we do know that there was their BBC kind of wanted to get rid of him, and Jodie Whittaker stepped in and said, no, if he goes, I go. And so they didn't do it. This is like loosely confirmed. Yeah. I
was about to say, can you provide some resources for this?
I this was a while ago, so you can check it. It was not confirmed, but it came through enough sources that it's generally, from what I understand, is like this most likely happened.
I
Again,
will
it's the same as like the same level as like the Eccleston rumors, like where it's
Right.
like we don't know what happened, but we've heard enough stories that we can piece together an idea. That the BBC wasn't happy with some of the stuff Chibnall was doing. I don't know if it's related to the Timeless Child reveal or if it's related to what, but I could see the network being like, you got to put a white guy in there so we can keep the old fan base at least like there.
I totally forgot about the Timeless Child reveal, by the way, until they brought it up, and then I was like, "Oh God, oh yeah, that thing."
So I rewatched it because I thought that it would have something to do with this episode. Not really.
You just gave the doctor like a massive existential crisis, and then she kind of moved on.
Right, and just to like rehash what it was. Because it took me a while to figure it out. Like the story is everything from one to her is correct, but also she has other lives we don't know about.
Yeah. It's just opens it up too much. It opens up her past too much. Go for it, Zach. I think
the whole problem with the Timeless Child reveal is that the whole strength of the Doctor was that the Doctor is just a random Time Lord who happened to steal a TARDIS and go off, and it's anybody can be the hero and save the day if they just put themselves into it. The Doctor is not a predestined character that has been foretold through the generations to save everything. The Doctor was just a random person who ran when they saw something scary.
They raid her.
The Doctor. And I hate that they tried to make them a destined character, because that's not the story we need, especially right now. We need a story about the every man, the every woman, the every person. Not the it's the same argument that I have about Star Wars constantly. It's like it's not about the fated individual. There's beauty in the character who you didn't see coming and just came from nothing, but was able to rise and save the day.
Right.
That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. It had nothing to do with today's episode, which is very odd to have such a huge reveal and then have it nothing to do with the episode.
They had to bring it up once, though, because they had to be like, we're still going to talk about this. It's still coming up.
We are acknowledging that we did this thing, but we'll talk about it later.
But
Jack
was out running around. Bring her back then. You've explained it. You've made your point. Then bring her back. Give me 2 doctors at the same time. Have them both be women. I'm in. I'm down for it.
Super like this is like even beyond the like Moffat era. Like we created a weird situation that we will now deal with and explain away. Like to have 2 doctors in the same place from like the top. Like I get that like canon only needs to be so important to a show, but like you're breaking a lot by having that happen.
Right. Well, it's just I don't know. I think you're right where they take someone who already has a pretty complex and interesting origin and making it more complex and trying to make it more interesting, and it just doesn't feel like it needs to be there.
Here's how I also just hated that they killed the Time Lords again, because like I wanted to see the Doctor interact with Time Lord Society more. But here's how I think that we could. Here's
what I'm talking about the Timeless Child reveal right now.
Okay.
Here's what I want to happen now that this is all established and it exists. And I don't believe in like retconning, like it was all a dream. Don't do that. That's almost worse.
Oh, I'd be so mad.
Yeah, don't do that. But if we do go through that portal thingy and find out where the Timeless Child came from, and we go back there, and then there's a whole society, and then this just happens to be a random person in that society who accidentally came over here and started Time Lords. And like we can introduce a new overseeing Time Lord-ish society and then play with that. I want to see the Doctor be a part of something bigger and not just the lead hero. I want to see her have to deal with her own society. That's what I would like to see if you're going to do this timeless child thingy.
I will just quickly about the timeless child. Tari says the timeless child doesn't make the Doctor a chosen one. They're literally a random child from different reality, same as if found Superman and used genetic code to advance. So, and Tari also adds, gives context for why the Doctor may have run away in the first place.
Oh, that bird boy chipping in.
But within Time Lord society, like there's like an agency set up to keep rebuilding the It's weird.
Well, listen, it
needs to be explored. That whole thing.
Yeah. It's if you're gonna like change the whole concept of the Time Lords to frame it around the Doctor not only being not just a Time Lord, but another thing that we have to go to discover, then I think you have to, I don't know. It's a lot to add on to the series.
I do hope that we eventually see it though, because like you've set it up now. Like don't set it up and then leave it out there.
Yeah. It's just the whole drive of Doctor Who and why it's like good is because they've set up alien in a box who flies around with companions and solves problems. It really needs to be that simple. And I think it's when you look at the whole backstory behind everything, that's where it gets a bit too much. And what you need to focus on is what makes it a good TV show, which is just alien in a box solving problems. And I think this distracts from it and tries to create a big lore and property behind it that just kind of bothers me.
Yeah, I think it's also something where it's just it's very ambitious. That's the word I was looking for earlier, and there's always kind of an issue of Chibnall wanting to just kind of disregard the past and come up with new and exciting things, which I appreciate. I mean, the show's been on for more than 50 years, so I get it. But at the same time, there's a reason why the things that worked. There's a reason why you say Dalek and we all know what you're talking about. Like that's what we come to the show for. When you make it more complicated, then it's kind of like, oh my God. Like I'm understanding of so much. I'm patient with so much.
I know.
To get through the show. So it's like you can't keep adding stuff to it. You're making it more difficult for me. And it's not necessarily always more exciting just because it's new, you know?
Can I say something real quick? I'm asking permission, but I just want to say something. I love you guys, and I love this show and nerding out with you guys about this show, even when we don't like what's going on screen. This is so much fun.
True.
I want to say thank you again so much for joining us. Any final thoughts on the episode before we wrap it up?
I didn't mean to wrap us up. I was just having a good time.
It's
I mean, we talked for a good amount of time. If there are any final thoughts on the episode.
Yeah, it was a good episode. And I'm excited to see like what they choose to do with what they've set up. So I hope it pays off, because this is a long haul of a possible last season for Jodie if they decide to go that route.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a good episode, not a great special, but I do hope that they do Jodie right and really give her a lot to chew on and use. And I hope they do the same thing for Yaz too. I'd like to see more out of Yaz. So they set up stuff that I think they can have a fun time playing with, and I hope they pay it off. But I also want to see more Captain Jack just in my future. I just love Captain Jack. So
well, Zach, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of fun stuff in here. There's some cool like references to like little eras of Doctor Who scattered in. I think what it is setting up for the characters is a good starting place for Series 13, which I was trying to find out. I was like, did they announce with all this? Like, they announced a new companion. Can they announce when the show's coming back? And no,
they said 2021.
Yes, but that's That's a 12-month span right now. Give me something
I
more.
read that they said it will air as soon as they are done shooting.
Yeah, so
Have they started shooting?
they were shooting in 2020, actually.
Oh.
My understanding is they were
COVID.
shooting in the fall. Well, here's the thing. I was like, as I was looking through this, John Bishop got COVID at the end of 2020, like in December, like very recently. And I think and then he was talking about going back to set. So I think they were already shooting. And I think now they're like, he will go back once they finish. So I'm assuming that BBC is just saying like, we're going to air it as soon as we're done, because like production right now, who knows like basically every production has to plan on shutting down at random.
Right.
Yeah, for 2 weeks.
So they're like, we could be planned to finish in March, but we might be shut down for a cumulative 2 months and then be done shooting in June. And then you got to do post.
Yeah, most American shows aren't starting back up probably until February for March releases.
Especially if they're shooting in LA, because right now they've really put a pause on everything that shoots in LA, which is quite a bit, except for the stuff that shoots in Canada or in Georgia. Yeah. So it's like
Georgia.
A lot of stuff is paused.
Atlanta is still going. All the Disney stuff down there is still going. And then Canada is in a better place, so they're still filming. But LA is almost every scripted show is going to shut down for January, or at least for a few weeks.
Yeah. I'm from Georgia, in case people are like, why are you making faces at Georgia? I have family there who I'm like arguing with at this moment. So, I'm just saying.
Please stay safe, Georgia.
Yeah, stay safe, Georgia.
And some of my favorite people are there right now.
Vote on Tuesday.
Georgia. Vote.
Oh yeah, vote. That's right. I'm like, oh yeah, there's so many. Ooh.
Something going on in Georgia, right?
All right.
On that note,
why don't we remind everybody where they can keep up with us between now and the new episodes? Also, anything you're working on that you want to tell people about, this is your chance, because we want to stay as connected as possible. I'll start with Miss Adrian Snow.
Hey guys, you can follow me at Miss Adrian Snow. I would spell it, but it's on the screen, which is always nice to see. And I'm living that life. You can also follow I sell body products and make soaps now. You can follow that.
Yeah, you do.
At Strange Gazelle. And so you can catch me there. I have a actual British lineup coming up for January with some Doctor Who soaps. So that's the first reveal.
Cool.
And that's it. That's all I'm doing, really. Reading books, taking care of cats, auditioning when I can. Yeah.
Awesome. Mr. Dave Child.
You can find me, Mr. Dave Child. I don't know what I'm doing these days, but every now and then something pops up. Sometimes a live Zoom comedy show, sometimes something else. Who knows? Keep following me at MR Dave Child. Who knows what'll pop up, and then you will all have fun. 2021.
That's Zach Wilson.
I'm Zach Wilson at that Zach Wilson. It's over there. I'm just here like clickety clacking on my keys. Follow me there. I did a show last year called Artificial on Twitch. All the episodes for season 3 are available for free. You just go to twitch.tv/artificialnext and watch them. I wrote a lot of it, like a fifth of it. There were 5 of us. It's fun. Go watch it.
Great.
Great. So, such a good plug. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL, even though it's written out. I'm going to spell it because it's hard. I am so many places. Here on FANVERSATION, please make sure that you have liked and subscribed. I cover Law & Order SVU on a show called Law & Order S Review. We will be doing an episode tomorrow. It's an old episode, which everyone loved, called Demons. Also, I have a show called Streaming Wars over on that hashtag show. I am live on Twitch at least twice a week, hopefully, twitch.tv/Yael Tygiel. I just started playing World of Warcraft, which I'm sure you're all going, why?
Oh, no.
I don't know how to play video games, and this is amusingly difficult. So Come and watch me not be able to even enter the game because I couldn't find where the little X is. Thank you.
Thanks for schmoozing with us.
Yes.
Been Who Schmooze. Maybe we'll be back when episodes return. Who knows?
Who smoosh? We smoosh. Who
No.
smoosh?
Okay. Thanks, everyone.